Welcome to my channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to speak English with ease, but when it's time to talk, your mind just goes blank? Maybe you know the words, but they don't come out. Or maybe your heart starts beating fast, your mouth feels dry, and suddenly, nothing comes out. Just silence. I understand. You're not alone. Many English learners feel nervous, shy, or even scared when they try to speak. They worry about grammar, pronunciation, or making mistakes. But what if I told you that it doesn't have to be that way? What if speaking English could feel easy, calm, and even fun? In today's video, I'm going to share something that helped me and many other learners speak English with comfort and confidence. Even if you're a complete beginner, even if you don't have anyone to talk to. Step by step, I'll show you how to go from scared and silent to smooth and strong. You'll learn how to speak every day, how to stop overthinking, and how to enjoy your English. So stay with me until the end. I promise, by the time we're done, speaking English will no longer feel like a big mountain. It will feel like walking, like breathing, something simple and natural. Let's begin. Chapter 1. I was nervous too. Let me take you back to a time when I was just starting to learn English. I still remember it clearly. That strange, heavy feeling in my chest whenever someone asked me a question in English. My brain would try to find the words, but nothing came out. I would open my mouth, but it felt like my tongue forgot how to move. The fear of making a mistake was so strong that I would rather stay quiet than say something wrong. There was one moment I can never forget. I was in a small group, and we were supposed to introduce ourselves. Simple, right? Just say your name, where you're from, and something you like. I had practiced those lines in my head many times. But when my turn came, my mind just stopped. I said, "Hello, my name is," and then silence. The room felt too quiet. Everyone looked at me. One person even smiled, not kindly, but in a way that made me feel small. Someone whispered something I couldn't understand, and they all laughed a little. In that moment, I felt broken. Not because I didn't know English, but because I couldn't speak it when it mattered. My heart sank. I remember walking home that day, feeling like a failure. I told myself, maybe I'm just not good at languages. Maybe English is not for me. That pain stayed with me for days. I avoided speaking in class. I avoided talking to strangers. I even stopped practicing for a while. But something inside me didn't give up. I started asking myself a new question. Not, why can't I speak? But, what if I could? What if I could learn to speak without fear? What if I could speak and not freeze, not panic? What if I could speak and actually feel proud? One day, I was walking by a bookstore and saw a sign in the window. It said, "Speak English with confidence." I stood there for a moment, reading those words again and again. And in that moment, I made a quiet promise to myself. I said, I want this. I want to speak freely. I want to feel strong when I open my mouth. That was my turning point. Not because I suddenly became fluent, but because I stopped waiting to feel ready and I started taking small steps, scared, shy, and unsure. But I moved forward. I started talking to myself in English. I started whispering sentences while walking. I wrote little notes in English and read them out loud. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth. But it was real. And with each small word, I began to feel a little less afraid. You see, we all begin at the same place, the beginning. And the beginning is full of silence, fear, and doubt. But if you stay there, you'll never know how far you can go. The real secret? Every fluent speaker you see today was once afraid too. Just like I was. Just like you might be now. So if you've ever felt nervous, if you've ever stayed quiet because you were scared, I want you to know this. You're not alone. And more importantly, your fear is not the end. It's just the first step. In the next chapter, I'll show you the exact first steps I took to break the silence and start speaking every single day. No partner, no class, just me, my voice, and a little courage. Let's take that step together. Are you ready? Let's go to Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The day I stopped waiting for a long time, I thought I had to wait. Wait until my grammar was perfect. Wait until I had a bigger vocabulary. Wait until I could understand every word in a video. I believed that one day I would just feel ready. That one day the fear would disappear on its own and I would suddenly speak English with confidence. But that day never came. I kept studying. I watched videos. I memorized vocabulary lists. I read grammar books. I knew so many rules: past perfect, future continuous, modal verbs. I could even explain them to others. But when someone spoke to me, my tongue stayed still. My heart beat fast, and I looked down or smiled awkwardly. Deep inside, I kept telling myself, "You're not ready yet. Keep learning. Then speak." But then something happened. I was watching a short video online. It wasn't even a lesson. It was just someone speaking casually in English about their morning. The words were simple. The speaker said things like, "I woke up late today," and "I made toast and tea." I realized, I know these words. I can say these things. So why am I still quiet? That question hit me hard. I paused the video and looked around my room. No one was there. Just me, my phone, and the silence. Then something inside me whispered, "Try it." My heart beat faster. I felt silly, but I decided to speak. I took a deep breath and said, "I woke up late today." That's all. Just 5 words. But something changed in that moment. I heard my voice in English, and it didn't sound so strange. It didn't feel so impossible. I said it again, this time with more courage. "I woke up late today. I made toast and tea." I smiled. For the first time, I wasn't just learning English. I was using it. That moment was small, but powerful. It was the day I stopped waiting. I realized that no amount of grammar study could replace the feeling of actually speaking. And I didn't need anyone else. I didn't need a classroom or a teacher or even a partner. I just needed to open my mouth. After that day, I made a small rule for myself. Speak at least one sentence in English every day, even if it's just to myself, even if it's just about breakfast. That one sentence was more valuable than 10 pages of grammar rules. And here's the truth I want to share with you. Waiting is a trap. If you wait for confidence to come first, you may wait forever. Confidence comes after you take action, not before. It's like learning to swim. You can watch 100 videos about swimming, but you'll never feel the water until you jump in. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'll start speaking when I know more, I'm here to tell you, start now. With what you know, with the words you already have. Speak to yourself. Speak to your mirror. Speak to your notebook. Just speak. That first sentence, no matter how simple, is the beginning of everything. It's the moment you stop learning about English and start living in English. In the next chapter, I'll show you how I built a daily speaking habit that didn't take hours, didn't need anyone else, and helped me feel more natural with every word. But it all started with one sentence, one voice, and one decision. Don't wait. You don't need perfect English. You need brave English. Let's move to Chapter 3. Chapter 3. I made speaking a daily habit. After I stopped waiting, I knew I had to take the next step. Not just speak once, but speak every day. Because here's the truth. Confidence isn't built in one moment. It's built in small, repeated moments, again and again, like brushing your teeth. You don't brush once a month, right? You do it every day. That's how I started treating English speaking, like brushing my teeth. It became part of my daily routine, no matter how busy I was, no matter how tired. In the beginning, I didn't have a big plan. I didn't say, I will practice for 30 minutes every day. That would have felt too big, too heavy. Instead, I started small, very small. I picked one time of the day, the morning. As soon as I woke up, I told myself, speak one sentence in English. That's it. One sentence. I remember one of the first ones. I said, I feel sleepy. I need to brush my teeth. It was simple, but it was real. It was mine. I didn't copy it from a book or memorize it. I just looked at my life and described it. That's when everything started to change. I began to turn my daily activities into speaking opportunities. When I was brushing my teeth, I said, this toothpaste tastes strong. The water is cold today. When I was making tea, I said, I like this smell. I'll add some milk. When I was getting dressed, I described my clothes. I'm wearing a blue shirt. These pants are a little tight. It may sound funny, but these sentences gave me power. They made me feel like English wasn't something far away. It was here, in my kitchen, my mirror, my hands. And then, something happened. One day, I was getting ready for work. I was walking around the room, packing my bag, checking the time. Without thinking, I said, I have to leave in 10 minutes. I hope the bus isn't late. I paused. I had said a full sentence, naturally, easily, without planning. I didn't translate it in my head, it just came out. That moment gave me a rush of joy. It felt like a secret door had opened in my mind, and behind that door, my English voice, real, alive, growing. That was my spike. The moment I realized this was working, my habit was becoming real. So I expanded it. While walking to the market, I said things like, "The weather is hot today. I see children playing." While cooking, I said, "I'm cutting tomatoes. The oil is too hot," even while doing laundry. "These clothes are still wet. I need more detergent." These weren't fancy sentences. They were my life in English. Soon I created little games to make it more fun. I would challenge myself to say 5 sentences while walking, or I'd pick a topic, like food or feelings, and describe it in English for 1 minute. I didn't wait for perfect grammar. I just spoke, and every time I did, my confidence grew a little more. You see, the habit of speaking is like watering a plant. One day doesn't show results, but after a week, a month, a season, something begins to grow. Slowly, quietly, but surely. And here's the most important thing I learned. You don't need a classroom. You don't need a study table, your home, your routine, your daily life. It's all your classroom. Your toothbrush, your shoes, your tea. They are your speaking partners. If you make speaking a habit, just like eating, bathing, or sleeping, it stops feeling like practice. It becomes part of who you are. So if you're watching this and thinking, "But I'm alone," or "I have no time," let me say this: you're not alone. You have your voice, and you don't need extra time. You just need to add English to the time you already have. From now on, every time you do something, anything, try to say a sentence about it in English. Start small. Be kind to yourself. And remember, 1 sentence a day becomes 2. 2 becomes 5. 5 becomes a voice. In the next chapter, I'll tell you about the moment I stopped being afraid of mistakes and how that made my speaking fly higher than ever before. Stay with me. We're just getting started. Chapter 4. I practiced even without people. There's a moment that every English learner faces sooner or later, the moment when you realize no one around you speaks English. No partner, no practice buddy, no conversation. For many people, this is the moment they give up. They say, "I can't practice alone. I need someone to talk to." I understand that feeling because I had it too. I used to think that speaking meant speaking with someone. But then one day, everything changed. I discovered the truth, that you can become a strong speaker even when you're alone. Yes, completely alone, because real speaking starts inside you, not outside. I remember the first time I tried something unusual. I stood in front of a mirror. I looked at myself, and I said, "Hi, how are you today?" It felt strange, a little funny, but then I smiled and replied to myself, "I'm good, just a little tired." It was a short, silly conversation, but I was doing it. I was speaking with myself. That moment was the beginning of a whole new world for me. The world of solo practice. I started using the mirror like it was a person. I practiced greetings. I asked questions. I answered them. I imagined situations. At the store, at work, calling a friend, and I spoke through them, all by myself. And the best part? There was no fear, no one to laugh, no one to correct me, no pressure. This became my secret training ground. Every day, I stood in front of that mirror and talked. Sometimes for 1 minute, sometimes for 10. I'd say, "What did I do today?" I woke up late. I had toast and tea. I watched a video on my phone. Now I'm tired. It felt simple, but it was powerful. I was practicing sentence building, tenses, descriptions, feelings, all in real time. And then came my top moment, the day I had my first full fake conversation. I had just watched a short English video about travel. I paused it, looked in the mirror, and said, "Did you watch that video about Italy?" Then I pretended to be the friend and replied, "Yes, it looked beautiful. I'd love to visit someday." I kept going. "What was your favorite part?" "The food, pasta, pizza, everything looked delicious." I kept switching roles, asking questions, giving answers, and when I finished, I realized I had just spoken English for 5 whole minutes, alone, no script, no fear, no one helping me, just me and my voice. That was my spike, the moment I felt free. I didn't need anyone else to begin. I could speak, grow, and train my voice in silence. And silence, I discovered, was not my enemy. It was my strength. I took this further with another powerful practice: storytelling. Every evening I told the story of my day out loud. I imagined I was calling a friend and said, "Hey, let me tell you what happened today." Then I'd describe my whole day in English. I woke up late because I didn't sleep well. At work, my boss was very busy. I ate lunch alone. On the way home, I saw a cute dog. This became a habit. It helped me practice past tense, emotions, and fluency, all by myself. Sometimes I'd pretend I was giving a small speech or answering interview questions. "Tell me about yourself." "Well, I'm learning English. I enjoy reading and walking. My goal is to speak fluently." I didn't care if I repeated myself or made mistakes. The goal was to speak, to get used to hearing my voice in English. One of my favorite solo techniques was pretending to teach. I would choose a topic, like fruits or weather, and say, "Okay, let me teach you about fruits. Apples are sweet, bananas are yellow, oranges have juice." Teaching something, even to an invisible student, helped me remember vocabulary and speak more clearly. These small solo moments were my gym, my training ground, my personal English lab. No one clapped, no one corrected me, but I was building something real. And every day, my voice grew a little stronger. If you're watching this and thinking, "But I'm always alone," I want you to know, that's not a problem. It's a gift. You don't need anyone to begin. All you need is your voice and your courage. Start today. Stand in front of your mirror. Say one sentence, then two, then three. Pretend. Imagine. Practice. This is how you become a speaker, even when no one is around. And in the next chapter, I'll tell you about the moment I stopped being scared of mistakes and how that one shift made my English bolder and brighter. Keep watching. The journey is just getting better. Chapter 5. Mistakes became my best friends. I used to be terrified of mistakes. Every time I opened my mouth to speak English, a little voice in my head would whisper, "Be careful. Don't say it wrong. They'll laugh. You'll sound stupid." And that voice, it kept me quiet. It kept me small. I was afraid of using the wrong word, afraid of the wrong tense, afraid of saying he when I meant she, or mixing up much and many. So many times, I said nothing. But then one day, something unexpected happened. I made a mistake, a big one. And instead of feeling shame, I felt something different. I felt free. Let me take you back to that moment. I was in a small group practicing English. It was my turn to speak, and I wanted to say that I had cooked rice the night before. So I said proudly, "Yesterday, I cooked mice." Yes, mice, not rice. For a second, there was silence, and then everyone burst out laughing. I didn't understand at first. I smiled, confused, and then one kind person gently said, "You mean rice, not mice? Mice are little animals." My eyes widened. My face turned red. I felt embarrassed. But then, I laughed too. That laugh changed everything. I realized something important. I was still alive. The world didn't end. People didn't hate me. And now, I would never ever forget the difference between rice and mice. That mistake, which felt so big, had become my best teacher. That was my top moment. The moment I understood that mistakes are not monsters. They are messages. They show us what we need to learn. They help us grow. They give us stories. And sometimes, they make us laugh. After that, I began to see every mistake differently. If I used the wrong tense, I didn't hide. I fixed it. If someone corrected me, I said, "Thank you." I even started writing down my mistakes in a notebook. One time I said, "I am boring," instead of "I am bored." The person looked at me funny, and I quickly understood. "Ah, no, I mean I'm bored." We laughed. But again, I never forgot the lesson. These little mistakes taught me more than grammar books ever could. The spike, the real emotional shift, came when I made a mistake during a job interview. Yes, a real interview. I was nervous. I tried to say, "I'm very interested in this position." But I said, "I'm very interesting in this position." The interviewer smiled and said, "Oh, that's great. But I think you mean interested, not interesting." I felt the old fear rising in my chest, that old shame. But then I took a breath and said, "Yes, thank you. Sometimes my English gets too excited." We both laughed. And you know what? I got the job. That day, I understood. People don't expect perfect English. They expect honest English, brave English, and brave English is full of little mistakes, because mistakes mean you're trying. Mistakes mean you're learning. Mistakes mean you're alive. Now, when I teach others or talk to learners like you, I say this with all my heart. Don't run from mistakes. Run with them. Let them walk beside you like good friends. They will whisper your next lesson. They will show you the gaps. And they will cheer for you when you get it right next time. You may feel nervous, even ashamed when you say something wrong. That's normal. But just remember this. Every fluent speaker, every teacher, every native English speaker, we all made mistakes. Hundreds of them. Thousands. That's how we became confident. So I invite you now to change your thinking. When a mistake happens, pause and say, "Thank you, mistake. You just taught me something." Laugh, learn, keep going. Mistakes are not the end. They are the beginning of something better. And in the next chapter, I'll tell you how I use those little lessons and the power of repetition to make English words stick forever in my mind and mouth. This next part is where your confidence really begins to grow. Don't stop now. We're just getting stronger. Chapter 6. I built a speaking world. Let me tell you something that changed everything for me. I stopped treating English like a subject and started living with it like a friend. Before that, English was just something I studied, a grammar lesson, a vocabulary list, a 10-minute video. But after I closed the book, I returned to my regular life, in my native language. And guess what? My English stayed stuck. I was learning, yes, but I wasn't living in English. One day, I asked myself, what if I don't just learn English? What if I live with it? That question changed everything. That same evening, I walked around my room with small sticky notes in my hand. I started labeling things: mirror, door, window, chair. I wrote the English word on each paper and stuck it right there. Every time I touched something, I saw the word. I said it out loud. This is my chair. That is the door. It was simple, but powerful. My room became my first classroom, and every object became my teacher. Then I added another layer. I began thinking in English. Instead of saying in my mind, "Main pani pine ja raha hoon," I would think, "I'm going to drink water." At first, it was slow and strange. I had to search for words, but I kept doing it. When I walked, I described what I saw. The sky is blue. There's a man with a red bag. I feel tired today. I was talking to myself, in my head, all day long. Slowly, the language started to live with me. When I cooked, I would say, "Now I cut the onion. Be careful. Don't cry." When I cleaned, I'd say, "I'm cleaning the table. It's a little dusty." Even brushing my teeth became a lesson. Brush the back teeth. Up, down, up, down. And one day, one ordinary day, something happened. I was boiling eggs in the kitchen. My sister walked by and said, "You're talking to yourself?" I smiled and said, "Yes, I'm practicing English." She laughed, but then paused. "Your English sounds better these days." That moment, that was the top moment, the spike, because someone noticed. And it wasn't me trying to impress anyone. I was just living with English, and it showed. From that day forward, I felt something new. Pride. Not the proud feeling that shouts, but the quiet one. The one that smiles to itself. I had created a small English world, and it was growing. I added more layers after that. I changed my phone language to English. I started writing short lists and notes in English. Instead of writing "Karidna Hai" in my notebook, I'd write "Buy milk, get eggs." Every little thing became a chance to practice. Even music and TV helped. I would sing along to English songs while cleaning. I started watching cartoons or simple shows. and I would copy the way the characters spoke. It felt like playing, not studying. This is what I want you to feel too. That English is not far away. It's not only in books or tests. It can be right beside you, in your home, in your day, in your small actions. Don't wait for big opportunities to practice. Create small ones. Label your world. Speak while walking. Think in English when you're bored. Turn your life into a language playground. One day, like me, you'll look around and realize something amazing. You're not just learning English anymore. You're living it. And in the next chapter, I'll tell you how I kept growing even when things felt boring, slow, or stuck. Because progress doesn't always feel exciting, but I found a way to keep going, even on quiet days. Let's keep building, step by step. Chapter 7. I started with easy words. Let me tell you a secret, one that helped me speak English when I thought I couldn't. I stopped trying to sound smart and started trying to sound simple. In the beginning, I thought I needed big words, words like comprehensive, articulate, phenomenal. I thought real English speakers used big vocabulary all the time. I believed that if I couldn't speak like the movies or the news, I was failing. But that belief kept me silent. I would freeze, searching for the perfect word. I wanted to say something like, "I deeply appreciate your assistance," but my mind went blank. Then one day, something happened. I was at a small food shop. The man behind the counter asked me, "Do you want spicy?" I panicked. I wanted to say, "Yes, but only a little bit. I can't eat too much spice." But I couldn't find the words fast enough. So I smiled and said, "Yes, small spicy." Guess what? He understood me. He smiled back and said, "Okay, small spicy." That moment changed everything for me. I realized I don't need perfect grammar. I don't need advanced vocabulary. I just need words that work. From then on, I started building my English with small, easy blocks. Instead of saying, "I'm exhausted," I'd say, "I'm very tired." Instead of, "I require assistance," I'd say, "Please help me." Instead of, "I am absolutely delighted," I'd say, "I'm happy." Simple words, short sentences, clear meaning. And you know what? People understood me more. I felt more confident. And most of all, I could speak. I remember one day, I had a full 5-minute conversation with a tourist in my city. We talked about food, weather, and places to visit. I only used simple words. "This place is good. You can try this dish. It's hot today." Nothing fancy, but it was real. It was honest. It was fluent. That's the top moment I want you to feel. That proud smile when you finish a real conversation. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, even if you only used common words. Because fluent doesn't mean complicated. Fluent means comfortable. It means free. It means you speak without fear. And guess what? Even native speakers use simple English every day. They say, "I'm tired. I'm hungry. Let's go." They don't speak like textbooks. So why should we? There's power in simple English. It's fast. It's strong. It's friendly. So if you're just starting, don't try to memorize 100 difficult words. Start with 10 easy ones. Use them again and again. Make them your best friends. Here's what I did. I made a small list of daily words. Eat, go, come, sleep, work, water, happy, tired, want, like. Then I made small sentences from them. I want water. I'm tired. I like this. I go now. Simple, but useful, every day. And little by little, those simple words gave me the power to speak anywhere, with anyone. So take a deep breath. You don't need to sound perfect. You don't need to impress anyone. Start small, start simple. That's how I did it. That's how fluency began. In the next chapter, I'll tell you how I stayed strong on slow days, the days when progress felt invisible or I felt like giving up. Because we all have those days. But there's a gentle way to keep going. Let's walk through it together. Chapter 8. I copied to learn. Let me tell you about a strange but powerful thing I did to learn speaking. I became a copycat. Yes, really. I copied people. I copied their words. I copied their voice. I copied their style. And slowly, I started sounding like them. Not because I wanted to be fake, but because I wanted to learn. It started when I watched a short English video on YouTube. It was a simple scene. A man was ordering coffee. He said, "Hi, can I get a small latte, please?" And the way he said it, it was clear, friendly, and natural. So I paused the video, rewound it, played it again. "Hi, can I get a small latte, please?" Then I said it out loud. "Hi, can I get a small latte, please?" Again. "Hi, can I get a small latte, please?" Again and again, until I sounded close. And in that moment, something amazing happened. I felt like I was really speaking, not just reading English, not just understanding it, but feeling it. This method is called shadowing. It means you listen and repeat. You don't worry about understanding every word. You just follow the sound, the rhythm, the feeling, like a shadow, like a song you sing without reading the lyrics. I started doing this every day, sometimes with movie scenes, sometimes with short clips from TikTok or Instagram, sometimes with English podcasts or cartoons. I would hear a line like, "It's a beautiful day," or "I'm not sure about that," or "Let me think." And I would pause, repeat, copy, again and again. One of my favorite voices to copy was from a travel vlogger. He had this friendly, relaxed way of speaking. He would say things like, "Okay, guys, today we're going to explore this little town." I copied his tone, his speed, even his smile. And guess what? I started sounding better, more real, more natural. Here's a memory I'll never forget, the top moment. I found a voice recording I made before I started shadowing. My voice was slow, unsure. I said, "Hello, my name is Anwar. I am from Pakistan." Then I played a new recording, made 2 months later. "Hey, I'm Anwar from Pakistan. Nice to meet you." It was me. But it felt like someone new, someone more confident. That spike moment, hearing the before and after, gave me so much motivation. I realized I didn't need a teacher. I didn't need a language school. I had voices all around me, or I just had to copy them. So here's what I want you to do. Pick a short video you enjoy, just 10 seconds. Listen, then pause. repeat. Listen again, repeat again. Try to match the voice, the sound, the rhythm. Do it 5 times, or 10 times, or 20 times. Make it fun, make it silly. It's okay to laugh. The goal is not perfection, the goal is feeling. Let the voice become part of you. Let your mouth and tongue learn the movement. I used to do this while walking, cleaning, even brushing my teeth. English became music, and I became the singer. Remember, children learn language by copying. They don't study grammar books. They listen. They repeat. And slowly, they speak. You can do the same. In the next chapter, I'll tell you what I did on the slow days. The days I felt stuck, or bored, or tired. Because every journey has quiet days. But I found ways to keep speaking, even then. Let's walk through those gentle steps together. Chapter 9. I spoke without thinking. Let me tell you about a moment I will never forget. I was standing at a small food stall, waiting in line. The man behind the counter looked at me and said, "Next, please." I stepped forward. He asked, "What would you like?" And without stopping to think, without translating, without planning, without fear, I said, "Just a chicken sandwich and a bottle of water, please." It just came out. Not slow, not broken, not perfect, but natural. My heart didn't race. My mind didn't freeze. My words didn't get stuck. They flowed like water. That was the moment I realized something big. I spoke without thinking. And that was the day I felt fluent, truly fluent, for the first time. You see, in the beginning, I used to think about everything. Every sentence had to go from English to my language and then back again. I would ask myself, wait, what's the English word for that? Is this grammar correct? What if I make a mistake? And while I was thinking, the moment would pass. The conversation would move on, or I'd stay silent. But slowly, things changed. And here's how it happened. I started speaking with my feelings, not just my brain. Let me explain in a simple way. When we learn something new, like riding a bicycle, we think about every part. Where to put our foot, how to turn the handle, how to balance. But after a while, your body remembers. You just ride. Speaking English is the same. At first, your brain is busy. What's the word? What's the rule? But after enough practice, your mouth remembers. Your tongue remembers. You feel the sentence more than you think about it. I call it the brain muscle connection. You don't speak from your brain only. You speak from your mouth, from your muscles, from movement and memory. That's why practice matters. That's why daily speaking changes everything. I used to repeat the same small phrases over and over, just like I told you in the last chapter. And over time, those phrases became automatic. Can I help you? Do you want some? I don't think so. Let's go. I didn't study them. I didn't memorize them. I lived them. And one day, I just started speaking without needing to try. That moment at the food stall was the top moment for me. But the spike moment came a week later. I was walking with a tourist who didn't speak my language. He asked me for directions. I said, "Sure." "Go straight, then turn left at the traffic light. It's right next to the pharmacy." After he left, I stood there frozen, not because I was scared, but because I was shocked. I didn't think, I just spoke. I smiled so wide I couldn't stop. I wanted to call someone and say, "Did you see that? I just helped someone in English." It felt like a superpower. You see, fluency is not about big words or long sentences. It's about flow. And flow comes from familiarity, from repetition, from feelings, from living the language, not just learning it. So if you're still thinking too much when you speak, that's okay. I was there too. But I promise you, with time and daily practice, speaking becomes natural, automatic, real. You'll say something one day and think, "Wow, I didn't even think about that." And that moment will change everything. In the next chapter, I'll share something very special, how my voice gave me courage. We'll talk about speaking out loud, recording your voice, and hearing your own strength. That's where we go next. Don't stop now. Your voice is your power. Chapter 10. Speaking feels like breathing. Now. It's hard to believe how far I've come. When I think about the old days, the nervous days, it almost feels like another life. Back then, English felt like a mountain, big, scary, and far away. Every word was a challenge. Every sentence felt like walking on a tightrope. My voice would shake. My heart would race. I was afraid of every little mistake. But now it's different. Today, speaking English feels like breathing, natural, easy, quietly powerful. It doesn't matter if I'm buying something, helping someone, or just thinking to myself, the words come on their own. English is no longer something I do. It's something I am. Let me tell you a moment that will stay with me forever. I was sitting in a small cafe. A woman across the room looked upset. She had a piece of paper in her hand, something official, probably medical, and tears in her eyes. No one around her spoke English, but I understood her language. I walked over gently and asked, "Excuse me, can I help you?" She looked up, surprised. "You speak English?" I nodded and smiled. "Yes, I do." And for the next 5 minutes, I helped her read the paper. I explained the difficult words. I made a phone call for her. I gave her a tissue. I told her everything would be okay. That was my top moment, because in that moment, English wasn't about grammar. It wasn't about fluency. It was about kindness, about being there for someone when they needed help. And I could do that in English. After she left, I sat back down, and quietly I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I was proud. So proud. That was my spike. The moment when I finally saw my voice not as a tool, but as a bridge. A way to connect with people. A way to offer something good, something human. English gave me that. And you know what? It's still the same voice, the same heart, the same person, just more open, more free. Looking back, I remember every small step. The first time I whispered a sentence to myself. The first time I got a word wrong and laughed instead of hiding. The first time I watched a video and repeated every line like an actor. The first time someone understood me and smiled. I remember the fear too, but I don't live there anymore. Now I wake up and think in English. I plan my day in English. I speak to strangers. I make videos. I help others learn. English is not a subject. It's not a goal. It's part of my world, part of my story. If you're watching this and you feel stuck, shy, or scared, I want you to hear me now. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know every word. You just need to start. One breath, one word, one small moment at a time. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll say something. And it will feel just like breathing. That's the real success. Not passing a test, not sounding like a native, but speaking from your heart with confidence and calm whenever you want. And you can do it. Because if I did it, you can too. Now, before we end this journey together, let me say one last thing in the next part. A message just for you. So stay with me for the final words. You're going to want to hear them. Now you've seen how I moved from nervous silence to comfortable, confident speaking, and you can do the same. These 10 chapters are not just my story. They can be your story too. Start small. Stay regular. Speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. Even if it's just one sentence in the mirror or a little conversation in your head while walking. These tiny steps are not nothing. They're powerful. They build your voice. They build your courage. And one day they'll build your fluency. You'll be surprised how quickly your confidence grows. If this video gave you ideas, hope, or even a little motivation, please give it a like. It really helps this message reach more learners like you. And if you want more simple, friendly videos like this one, full of real stories and easy steps, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what's one small speaking habit you'll start today? Will you talk to yourself while doing dishes? Will you practice in front of the mirror? Will you say one sentence out loud each morning? Whatever it is, I want to know. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your story. This is your journey now. Let's walk it together.